few days of Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome. This is the last in the series of virtual talks for Ramadan 2023. We're very fortunate to have Imam Talal Eid's, one of our incredible shuyukh here with us today. Last few days of Ramadan, Imam, and love to hear your reflections for the next 30 minutes. This is being recorded for future viewing, inshallah. Welcome, Imam Talal Eid.
Yeah. طيب. Assalamu alaikum. I'm grateful for the host of this program, and I pray, inshallah, all of you are enjoying the hardship of the fast. Just a couple of days, hang on. And today is the 25th of Ramadan, and tomorrow is the 26th. That's an important night. That's Laylat al-Qadr, but I will not be talking about Laylat al-Qadr. I think we are more familiar with that, but I'm going to address an important issue for us regarding children, parents and children. What is the responsibility of parents toward their children? Some may suggest that we just bring them up, work hard, invest on them, and then let life teach them. To some sort, I'm not in line with that kind of understanding. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for those who are married and have children and maybe grandchildren also, and those who are not married looking forward to get married, or they are during the process of education, so we all need these kind of things, that how to deal with our children. What I suggest is we have to educate our children, because someone else is teaching them something that we may agree, we may disagree. So we make the balance by giving them something about what we call our culture, or the Islamic faith. And why it is important? Because it is in the Quran. And in the Quran, there is a specific chapter. It's called Luqman. And this is chapter number 20. And in this chapter, you can start with Qala Luqman, like Luqman said to his son. It means a child in general, something. And I would like to invite you after that to go over this chapter number 20, and go over it and see the kind of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the kind of education that he left it to parents to do it, not to someone else. And also there is another area you can check. That's Surah Al-Isra. This is chapter number 17. And in particular, you start from ayah number 22, and you go through the ayat 37. Ayat 37. Now, I want you to go over them to see and conclude that you are responsible really to educate your children, and don't leave them to someone else to teach them something we may not like. So why it is important to educate our children? So our children are literally our investment in this world for the life hereafter. And what we know, that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِذَا مَاتَ ابْنُ آدَمَ, when a person dies. So what he said, dies. Then he said, all his good deeds come to an end. Let's say you cannot benefit from do things like benefit from things to help you while we are in our graves. But, he says, yeah, there are three things that can help benefit us. And he mentioned three things like ongoing charity, in particular, sustaining and maintaining your Islamic Center, which I know the Islamic Center of Boston. And then beneficial knowledge, someone whom you educated. And the third one, listen to this, and a righteous child who will pray for you, for the parents. So if you want your child to pray for you after you depart this earthly life, and in the Quran, وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِ صَغِيرًا. That's the best dua. Ya Allah, bestow on them rahmah, mercy, because they helped me grow up with a sound mind and healthy life. So also, there is something else. The world is now changing. There is what we see, globalization. And our children now exposed to all sorts of ideas and values, especially you gave them something to keep with them, hold it with their hands, a phone that is connected to internet, and giving them all kinds of things. So I'm afraid, they may not, they may be fascinated by what they see, what they hear. So we need to make sure that we empower them with the ability to think and make the correct choices. So let me start with number one. What do we teach them? Responsibility. And let me remind you or bring to your attention this hadith of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where he says, "Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyatih." Every one of you is a shepherd and is responsible for his flock. And then he mentioned a couple of things. Like he said, the husband is the guardian of his family, and he is responsible for them. The wife is the guardian of her family, and she's responsible for them. It means like father and mother need to work together to come with a unified, sound plan of how to approach their children and what to say to them. Like you see here in this hadith, Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam is using like what we call the teaching mechanism. And in many hadith saying of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he uses also metaphors. So what do we do here that teach our children or your child that he or she is a shepherd? Shepherd. Now, why Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam is using this mechanism and this metaphor? Shepherd. Remember that he said about himself that he used to take care of sheep. So he was a shepherd when he was a teenager. And he says, كنت أرعاها لأهل مكة على قراريط, that he will take care of their sheep in exchange of little money. But, a shepherd will teach you something that, I envision yourself, taking care of like 10 or 15 sheep, and then you have to make sure they don't go astray, okay? And you use the stick not to beat them, but to guide them, not to use the stick, like hold it, but don't use it, to keep the sheep all together and protect them from the wolf. So two things here: guide the sheep and protect them from wolves. So so you teach our children to be responsible, and to be responsive means teach them how to defend themselves. You know, when they go outside, you know, most of us, we go outside with peace of mind, and we assume people are good and this and that. But the actual life is different, because sometimes you need those who are sick, those who have a mental problem, they give you a hard time. And so we teach our children how to handle these situations. So our children should be the protectors and the saviors of themselves, and for the long run, they are the protectors and the saviors of their family when they grow up and have a family. And they are protectors and saviors of the society, because, you know, to have a healthy family, you need a healthy society. So they work together. The other point here is, don't let others put your children down. Teach your child. Don't let anyone try to put you down. You know, as we go outside, we have those who are jealous sometimes. They are jealous of the child. So it's better that we teach the child when they go outside to be simple and not too many attractive things, because people are jealous. Sometimes they meet someone who's having a problem. So how come that child has no problem? I have a problem. They get jealous. So they try to put them down. And you know, the child has self-esteem. So that they need also to trust themselves and go ahead with their life, but with wisdom. Be wise of how to deal with the people outside. There are people who are good. There are people who are not. That's in every society. Number 3 is modesty. What is modesty? You know, some people may think that, oh, this is now for women. And no, not necessary. Modesty is not for women only. It is for the boys and the girls also as well. How modesty is the one you believe that that's the way modesty is. I'm not going to go beyond that, but do not let your children grow up with the notion that only women need to be modest. Teach them that modesty is as much for man as it is for women. And modesty, as Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam taught us, is half of the faith. And this thing is applied to all Muslims. So help them realize that looking good and sporting the latest trends is great, as long as it does not lead them to feelings of superiority and imitation of just anyone. So we don't want them to imitate just anyone. every child tend to look for a model to imitate. So help them choose this model and encourage them at the same time to love simplicity and modesty, and at the same time. I go to number 4, that is gentleness and kindness. Being a mean, being a tough, being a macho may not be the right thing to have in our personality. Gentleness and kindness are very important, both of them. And our model to follow here is Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The best thing I put it as the people they used to say about him before being a prophet, from the time he grew up, from the time he was a teenager and mature, and they used to say he is al-Sadiq and al-Amin. Sadiq is truthful, Amin, trustworthy. That's gentleness, that's kindness. So teach the children that the more respect they give to others, the more they will be respected by others. Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, إنكم لن تسعوا الناس بأموالكم. You know, you will not gain the respect of the people to respect you, gain the respect of people toward you by giving them money. But you can gain their respect سعوها بأخلاقكم, by your ethical behavior. So we teach them to be like, what is ethical behavior? I mean, to be good listeners, okay? A good leader is one who accepts good counsel and opinions of others, as we see in the example of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam. I have been told that even a child would take his hand, the hand of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he would follow him. And also, once he saw a child crying, and the child says to him that I lost my parents, I'm an orphan. So he pat on his shoulder. He said, isn't it enough that I can be the father? And isn't it enough that my daughter Fatima to be your mother? So you see here we see good communication with others. So we teach our children to listen, you know, with the intent to understand, just to understand, not with the intent to reply or argue. Because, you know, sometimes we believe that that's we, everything is we are. And if someone says something that is not part of our interest or something, and then we tend to argue with them, listen to them, hear their saying, talk, respond to them, try to argue in best way. And in particular, I want to address the issue of our children talking to non-Muslims, as sometimes our children, they think of themselves that they are Muslims and they are the upper. So when they talk to non-Muslims, they talk to them as people who are going to hellfire and will be roasted in hellfire. That's not the good connection that we want our children to think. So even when they talk to non-Muslims, they have to respect them, respect their faith, and no one can assume the position of God or God's position or be God on earth in dealing with others or in judging others. This is not our job. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in that when he says, إِنَّمَا أَنْتَ مُذَكِّرٌ. So you are a reminder. لَسْتَ عَلَيْهِمْ بِمُسَيْطِرٍ. You are not in any way responsible to control what they say, what they think, what they do. So dealing with others in a nice way, in a respectful way, this can help us. And the last thing here, but not the least, we teach them early on. I mean, from the time they start understanding the world around them. So we teach them to be caring and kind to others, but also to their mother, to their father, to their sisters, to their brothers at home, sisters and brothers, so that when they grow up, they can become gentles, they can become loving husbands, they can become loving wives, they can become loving fathers, they can become loving mothers. Number 5 is teach your children from a very young age to help around the house and participate in helping around the house. And if you have boys and girls, don't teach the boys that they are boys and not supposed to do anything. You leave these things to the girls. No. We teach the children early on that they are responsible to help around the house and participate in helping, so that they grow up to be like Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What Sayyida Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, the Prophet's wife, what did she say about him? And this is very important. She said he would mend his own shoes, wash his own clothes, and help around the house. What is better than that? So it is not just like the husband would watch his wife working in the house and cleaning, and then he would sit on the couch. And then I want you to know that your children are going to do the same. But if the husband, showed that that him also part of this family, and he would follow the example of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, who is the model of excellence for us and for our children. So when the children see the husband or the wife or mom or dad, that they are working together, helping in the affairs of the house, so they will learn many examples of how to run their life, or the details of their life, so that they emulate the parents in every manner. So, like, just a small example, like when they go to the bathroom and they use the toilet, sometimes we put signs, do this, but we can teach them how to keep the toilet clean, how to keep their bathroom, if they have private bathroom, how to keep it clean, and do not expect that that dad or mom should come and go after them and clean after them. Today we have washer and dryer. Yeah, there's nothing wrong if we teach the child early on that put their things in the basket in their room for washing, and then whenever they have time, go and put them in the washer, and then in dryer. And if they eat, some children, they just throw it in the sink. They put the plate in the sink. Well, teach them at least to clean the plate, run the water, and then put it aside, or put it in the dishwasher or something. So children need to be taught many examples of their life in details, so they can be ready to hear the advice and put it into action. Okay, as they grow up now, we teach the child that less of halal is better than more of haram. So it is our responsibility to teach our children not to measure their success on the yardstick of this world. It's like example, okay? We help them learn the understanding that it is better to earn less through halal, permissible ways, than to earn more through haram or illegal or dodgy means. And in this, we are having a healthy family, and then I have a healthy society at the same time. The last thing I can emphasize is choose your friends, the friends for the children. Help them choose their friends. The way they choose their outfit, a shirt or something else, or a dress or a perfume. So though we need to let our children learn how to make their own relationships, it's fine, and function in the society independently. We let them do that. But it is the responsibility of the parents to give their children the tools to help them choose the right friends. And the more we start early doing that, the more the children will grow up with the sense of choosing, as we say. This thing is important because Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam said that a person is likely, al-mar'u ala dini khalili, is likely to follow the faith of his friend or her friend. So, فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَحَدُكُمْ مَنْ يُخَالِلْ. Look whom you befriend. Now, the mind of our children is innocent, and sometimes, those friends, they approach our children in a nice way, and the child is fascinated by them. It is only later when they started putting the poison things in their mind. So we teach our children to befriend those who remind them of Allah and don't lead them to things that to things that are against the teachings of Islam. We know that Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he gave a metaphor, a metaphor of how we choose friends, and he mentioned like the good friend is like the seller of the attar, the perfume. Like if you go to a place that sell only perfumes, like when you enter, that's how the metaphor is. He explained that you enter the shop and you find nice smelling. So he says, you're going to benefit anyway. If you buy, then you buy something nice. Or sometimes they put sample. So you put the sample, you are a winner. You win, you benefit. And if you did not get a sample, and if you did not buy, what do you find? You will benefit from the nice smell that you find it outside. And then he mentioned the bad friend is like you going to a blacksmith shop in old days, you go to blacksmith shop and you'll either get hurt by the sparks of the fire, the flames, or you find bad smell, and so on and so on. So it does not mean that the blacksmith is not good. No, but it's just an example. Where you put yourself is the important things. And I remember here this little story that a person sent his child to study at Al-Azhar University, and he was from a different country. So he sent his child, and the child was studying, and the parents are supporting him financially. So one day, the parents, they thought that they want to travel to Egypt and see their son. So their son received them at the airport, and then he started to take them a tour. So he started to go, and they asked him, what is this place? Oh, this is the zoo. What is this place? This is the museum where the pharaohs and all these things. And this is in the Nile River. And one day they were walking and they saw a nice big building. And they said to their child, what is that building? And the child said, I really don't know. Let's go and ask. So they went, and he asked the person, what is that nice building? And the person said, oh, this is Al-Azhar University. This is something like which show that, the son was wandering everywhere except going to school. And this is the best example, as it seems that this particular child, he ended up hooked with bad people who start to teach him many things, and they taught him to neglect his study. This is just a story that we say it to help us understand. So with that, I end this list, and there are many other things. Of course, we can discuss it if you have a question or you want to discuss certain issue. You feel free to do that. We still have time for questions and answers. I pray that we all have the blessings of Ramadan, and inshallah get ready for Eid al-Fitr on Friday. May Allah bless you all. And remember, your place, the Islamic Center of Boston, deserves your support and financial help also at the same time. May Allah bless you, and may Allah bless all those volunteers, the administrators of the center who are doing many things to benefit the community. Wassalamu alaikum.
Sheikh, thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Just question, could you repeat the list again just once for us, one more time, just for the audience?
Oh, the list, okay. Responsibility, do not let others put them down. Modesty, that it's not only for women. And then gentleness and kindness, help around the house. Less of halal is better than more of haram. And then helping them choose their friends. Now, the list can be expanded, there is no doubt. And if you go to Surah Luqman 20, you can expand the list. And if you read Surah Al-Isra, chapter 17, you go from 22, ayah 22 to ayah 37, and you will find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned many other things that we can include it in our list.
Just one question, Imam. What is the advice for suhbah, for good friendship? If you could summarize that at the end, then we can end.
Well, you know, many people leave their children. They go to school, they have a friend. So they let their children pick their friends, which is fine, but you have to help them. It's not enough to tell them, well, choose your friends, but you help them by educating them about the criteria. What are the qualities of a friend? Where are the limits for the children? Can they befriend just anyone they want? Or they have a list of qualities that they want to make sure? And it is the child who needs to understand these things. The parents cannot play the spy game, like I spy on my children and then I go investigate, and that, which is, doing that may not be practical, but putting that in the mind of your children. Like I know once a person wants to teach their children that gambling is bad, okay, including choosing friends who gamble. So he took his child to a place where the child can see what happened after the gambling, how they lose and how the people get nervous and angry that they lost their precious money. So in this way, he was able to make the children understand these things. And also another one, he took them to the bar at the end of the time to let the children see what the people, when they exit the bar and they drinking too much, how they behave, how they are running left and right, they cannot control themselves, how they are unable to drive their cars. Some parents teach their children about drunk drivers. Look what they do, they kill people. So you need to be able to learn, and that's the best thing I can say, how the child can affect the circumstances of life, not to be affected by others, but affect others. It means the child will have this kind of ability to distinguish between good and bad. And sometimes he may choose to connect with someone who is bad, just to give them a kind of education, not to learn from them. If they want to go into that field, we call it the field of da'wah, educating others, which is fine, because there is a lot of sawab. But I don't want, you go and they connect themselves with bad people and then they become like them, because a bad person is gonna tell them, oh, sniff this, is not, nothing is gonna happen to you, just little bit. Just try this cigarette, try this little alcohol. It's gonna make you feel happy, and then they buy it. That's the biggest problem that our children may face when they grow up, especially when they go to college. College age is very serious. If the child is not prepared for it and is unable to distinguish between the good and the bad, then they may lose themselves.
Sheikh, thank you so much for your time. I think there are no more questions. We'll end here, inshallah.
Okay.
Jazakumullah khair. Thank you.
All right.
Mubarak in advance.
Eid Mubarak. Inshallah, we'll see you soon.
Inshallah, Imam. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.